Hey everybody, Adam and Alana here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. So if you haven't seen much of Lana, that's because she's usually the one inside taking care of AJ while I'm outside doing the firewood. So go ahead and say hi again.
Hello.
But what we're doing out here today is we've got a dangerous widowmaker that we're going to take down. And let me preface this with, I am not a professional. I don't take trees down for a living. I just cut trees down on my own property for firewood. I have taken a couple trees down before, quite a few actually. So what I'm going to do today is just how I do things, and it's not a how-to. And the reason I have Alana out here with me today is because I'm not a professional, and these are called widowmakers for a reason. I want to make sure I have somebody out here in case things go sideways. I have somebody to call for help on my behalf in case I get pinned under a tree or something. So with all that said, let me show you the tree and then I'll show you the equipment I brought back to help me take it down. So normally a tree like this I probably wouldn't even mess with, but considering it's right over top of our trail here, it needs to be dealt with. And there's a couple things here that make this tree dangerous. The first one being that obviously it's a widowmaker, so it's hanging up from so high up in the air. There's no way that I could get a rope around that and just yank it down with the tractor. The second thing is there's two stems on there, so only one of the stems came down. So if that tree was only, 20 feet up to where it broke off there, it'd be pretty easy to take it down. It would just fall right over, but it still has that right stem on it, which means that we've got a pretty big tree to drop here. Now this is a cherry tree. It's gonna make excellent firewood, but it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge to get it down here. So I'm gonna show you the equipment I brought back to give me a hand. So here's our equipment list for this job. Obviously a chainsaw, we've got some wedges, we've got a 30-foot rope in case we need to give it a little tug with the side-by-side, logger's helmet, we've got the hookaroon, chainsaw chaps, we've got our chainsaw maintenance kit. That's like a scrunch and your little wrench to adjust the carburetor. And then we've got a sledgehammer to pound the wedges in, and then a set of gloves. So that is all I brought back here to take down this widowmaker, and then obviously the Polaris Ranger and my lovely wife over there to keep an eye on me and make sure I don't die. So before I get cutting, what I'm trying to decide right now is what direction do I want to fall the tree. So if I look up there, the best place that the tree has a natural lean is to go that way with it. But because that's still connected up there, this little maple tree is going to be in the way and it's probably going to hang it up. The next best option would be to bring it towards me this way, but it doesn't have a natural lean that way. So what I think I'm going to try to do is I'm going to stand on that side of the tree over here. And I think I'm going to try dropping it straight that way because I don't think there's that much holding wood left in there, that top up there. And when it drops, I think there's going to be enough pressure to hopefully break that free. Alright, so after clearing out all the underbrush underneath this tree and spending some time underneath there, I think my plan has changed again. So if I stand right underneath this tree and look up, it really wants to go this way into all of this brush here. And I think I'm going to go ahead and let it because my biggest concern right now is just getting it on the ground. Once I get it on the ground, I can come back here once the ground freezes up or gets a little more solid, or even wait till summertime and bring the tractor back here and pull it out so that it's not in all that brush when I'm trying to cut it up. So I'm just trying to get it on the ground for today. And the other thing is, if you look up here, now I'm on the other side of this tree. If I'm on this side and I'm trying to drop it that way over there, this maple right here is going to go ahead and keep that broken limb off right there from coming this way and hitting me. So if I'm cutting right here on the bottom and I drop it to the right and then I just walk back this way for my escape route, I should be okay. And the tree you can see right there is leaning to the right anyway.
Hello. I just want everyone to know that I do not approve of this message. I'm not a fan of what he's trying to do. So I'm really out here so he doesn't die. Let's see what happens.
Now that I've got my face cut in there, pretty clean looking face cut too, I might add. I did a pretty good job, not to pat myself on the back, but it's facing directly this way here. I think the approach I'm going to take is I'm going to try a boar cut here, and then that way I've got a trigger on the back that I can just tap it with the chainsaw and get the heck out of the way. All right, so I wanted to stop and show you this boar cut here. I had a little bit of trouble with the 20-inch bar that I had on here. I had taken the rakers down too far, and that was for cutting firewood, which, you know, is kind of okay for cutting firewood, but if you're doing boar cuts, you really don't want to have those rakers down too far. Also, that 20-inch bar wasn't long enough to bore all the way through this tree. So I had to stop what I was doing, run down, get the 24-inch bar, put a fresh edge on it, and now we're cooking with gas. So if you look, there's that boar cut there. And it goes all the way through the tree. No daylight on the other side, but if you come over here, you can see right there. Oh, there's the daylight. So the only thing I have left that's holding this tree is that back hinge right there, and that's called your trigger. So as soon as I release that, this tree should come down. And the reason I did it like that was so that I only have to make about a 5-second cut. So I'm not standing under there with the saw waiting for it to come over. I'll release that, the tree will come down, and I can get out of the way pretty quick. All right. Everything went as planned, but I tell you what, I was a little nervous. I don't know if you could tell. Obviously, that's why I brought Alana back here, but that went just as I expected it to. Take your time, look at the tree, and plan everything out and prepare for the worst. So now that we have this down and the Widowmaker part of the tree is across the trail here, and we got the side-by-side back here, might as well cut it up and take a Ranger load of cherry out of the woods. Drop it, and so try it. Let me see.
Not hard enough.
No, it's easier if you do it when it's on its side, so you can like golf club swing it in there.
I don't know if I can actually. I'm too short.
All right, here, let me see it. So. That's okay, I can do it. Just stand in front of the camera and look pretty.
Okay. Are you going to show me attempting to do it and failing?
Yes. So we got a nice little load of cherry here. You can see why this tree blew down in the windstorm. You can see all these dark red spots here. That's red rot on cherry. All of this here, the inside of this, is partially rotted. You can see there's still some good pieces here that are completely solid, but a lot of the center of this cherry tree had that red rot. And that's why that windstorm was enough to blow down the top out of that tree. I kind of had a pretty good idea that the base of this tree was pretty solid, just because where that tree top blew off was up above a crotch, and I figured below that crotch the rest of that tree would be solid. And you can see here there's none of that red rot in the base of this tree here. So I'm pretty sure this whole section here actually wouldn't be a half bad saw log. There's probably a good 10-foot log right there. And then there's that crotch, and then you can see right there where the top of that tree blew out. I'd be willing to bet that whole left side of that cherry tree is probably pretty solid too. So this was Lana's first time being back in the woods with me while I've taken a tree down. She's been with me before cutting, splitting, and stacking firewood. But what did you think about being back here when I cut this tree down?
It was a little nerve-wracking because I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, but...
It looked pretty dangerous and scary when you were looking at the whole thing laying up top there, but how many times did I change my mind on which direction I wanted that tree to go?
At least 5.
How long do you think it took me before I actually got the saw started into the tree?
Probably 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's one thing is I try to make sure I've thought of everything before I start taking the tree down. And if you're somebody who's new to felling trees, which I've been doing it probably 3 or 4 years, so I'm still relatively new at it. I don't have 20 or 30 years of logging experience, but I do know some basic concepts of taking trees down. But my biggest advice would be take your time, think everything through, and if you don't feel comfortable with it, there is nothing wrong with just walking away from the tree. A day walking home from the woods without any firewood is better than a day in the hospital or even worse. So that's my biggest advice, is take your time, and if you don't feel comfortable, walk away. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and check out some other videos. Thanks for watching.